Hello my fellow Welt lovers, it's finally here. Patch 3.3 just dropped like a meteor onto the Star Rail servers, and let me tell you, we are eating good today. The V3 update is live, and it just brought a wave of buffs and tweaks that flip Cipher's entire kit on its head. And yes, Hyacine got some love too, kind of. Whether you've been riding the Cipher hype train since day one, or you just want to know if she's actually worth building now, we've got a lot to unpack. Topping up in Genshin or Star Rail can get expensive, and let's be honest, we've all seen those in-game prices and wished they were just a bit lower. Well, that's exactly what LDShop is here for. This is LDShop, the official top-up platform developed by the LD Player Emulator Group. It lets you top up your favorite games, like Genshin Impact and Star Rail, at huge discounts, up to 23% off or more. And yeah, it's super easy to use. All you need is your server and UID, and your top-up will show up in-game within just a few minutes. It's safe, reliable, and used by thousands of players. You can even compare prices, for example, something like the Supply Pass or a 6480 Stellar Jade Bundle. It's way cheaper here than in-game. If you register using my link, you'll get a 10% off coupon and an extra 5% off coupon, which can save you up to $50 on your first top-ups. Plus, LDShop gives you the same first top-up bonus you'd get in-game, so you're not missing out on anything. And if you're planning to spend more, here's a bonus. If you spend over $80, you'll unlock VIP status, which gives you a free supply pass and more perks. So if you're looking to save while still getting everything you normally would in-game, just use the link in the description and start topping up with LDShop today. First things first, Cipher. Remember how her follow-up attack used to only trigger after she used her ultimate? And then you had to wait to ult again if you wanted to do another one? That awkward cooldown dance is over. It's gone. Now, Cipher can trigger her follow-up attack once every turn. That is a massive change. It might sound small on paper, but in practice, this boosts her consistency, her utility, and yes, her damage output. Now, every turn you're getting that follow-up. And guess what that means? More debuff uptime. Because every time Cipher lands that follow-up, she's applying her signature debuff that increases the damage enemies take. This alone already makes her 10 times more viable in multiple team comps, but let's talk about the big one, Acheron. Cipher is now officially one of Acheron's best teammates. Between her frequent follow-ups, easy debuff application, and now better scaling, she synergizes perfectly in Ezreal-style Acheron teams. The energy flow is better, the triggers are smoother, and she's contributing solid sub-DPS on top of that. If you're an Acheron main, this patch is a dream come true. Seriously, Jiaoqiu, Cipher, and Acheron might just become the new classic trio. But wait, there's more. Cipher also got a quiet buff in teams with Fei Xiao. Since her follow-up rate is up, that means she's feeding more stacks into Fei Xiao's kit. And based on early testing, Cipher might be Fei Xiao's best sub-DPS support now, outside of Robin. Her improved debuff uptime boosts Fei Xiao's burst potential, and their pacing feels incredibly smooth together. It's synergy you can actually feel in-game. Now, let's dig into her traces. One of the most underrated changes of this patch was her third trace. Previously, it applied 30% vulnerability to enemies. Now it applies 40%. All Cipher has to do is be on the field. That's it. No skill cast, no extra condition. She just stands there looking cool, and your enemies are taking 40% more damage. To put that in context, Tribute's entire gimmick is based around a 30% damage taken debuff. Cipher is doing better with zero effort. It's wild. On top of that, they replaced one of her minor HP bonuses with 10% effect hit rate, which might not sound exciting at first, but it means her debuffs are landing more consistently. That's a subtle buff with real impact, especially if you want her to be the main enabler in a comp. Now, let's talk about Eidolons. Her E1 just shot to the top of the value chart. Cipher's talent records your team's damage and stores it for her ultimate, right? Well, now her E1 boosts have recorded damage by 150%. 150%. That's not just a bonus. That's a multiplier. Her ultimate becomes a mini-nuke. And as if that wasn't enough, her E1 also gives her plus 80% attack for 2 turns every time she triggers a follow-up. It's basically 2 Eidolons worth of power baked into one. If you're thinking about investing in her, E1 is the stopping point. You don't need E2, you don't need the light cone, just get E1 and you're good. Speaking of E2, it's fine. Not amazing. It gives a 120% base chance to make enemies take 30% more damage for 2 turns when hit. It's solid utility, but not nearly as impactful as E1. Honestly, if you're not a Cipher diehard, you can skip it. Alright, let's switch gears to Hyacine. And hey, it turns out she did get a little more than a name change this time. Let's break it down. First off, her memo sprite, also now called Little Ika, got a surprise buff. It is now immune to debuffs. Yeah, you heard that right. Little Ika is untouchable. You can't silence it, you can't slow it, you can't lock it down. This makes Hyacine a little more reliable in certain niche scenarios where you were worried about crowd control interfering with her playstyle. It's a small tweak, but for high difficulty content, that immunity might actually matter. Second, we've got a nerf, but a small one. Hyacine's E6 used to reduce all-type residential by 24%. That's now been lowered to 20%. Not the end of the world, but worth noting for the min-maxers out there. It slightly dials back her top-end potential, but in most real scenarios, that 4% difference won't break her. Still, if you're running full Eidolons, you'll want to keep that in mind when calculating team damage windows. So, yeah, Hyacine didn't get a total kit rework, but her sprite's buff is real, and that E6 nerf keeps her balanced. It's clear that Hoyo still wants her to sit comfortably in that flexible enabler/support niche without letting her snowball too hard with stacked residential shred. Now let's talk about relics, because this part is huge, especially for Cipher and any support-focused sub-DPS unit. Wave Strider Captain just got a glow-up. Here's the real deal. The 2-piece effect increases crit DMG by 16%, solid as ever. But the 4-piece effect is where things get wild. When the wearer is the target of another ally's ability, they gain 1 stack of help. These stacks can go all the way up to 32. And when the wearer uses their ultimate, they consume all of those stacks, and each stack increases their ATK by 48% just for that turn. That is one of the highest burst potential relic sets we've seen in a while. This isn't just a stat stick, it's a comp-dependent, synergy-driven nuke machine. Characters that thrive on being supported, like Cipher, Robin, or even some experimental Clara setups, can take full advantage of this. It rewards smart team building, it rewards coordination, and it turns support interactions into damage boosts. It's kind of brilliant. So where does this leave us? Cipher is now a legit team core unit. Not just a gimmicky debuff bot, but a consistent, high-frequency enabler with real sub-DPS potential. Her new trace buffs, her E1 explosion, her universal vulnerability aura, everything points to her becoming a staple unit in some of the strongest comps in the game. And all it took was a patch to break her chains. Hyacine's still solid, with some quiet but impactful tuning. Little Ika is now untouchable. Her E6 is slightly more balanced. She's not the flashiest character in this patch, but she's holding her ground. Let me know what you think about these changes. Are you finally going to build Cipher? Are you running her with Acheron or Feixiao? Did the Little Ika immunity surprise you? Are you still holding out hope for a bigger Hyacine rework? Drop your thoughts down below. I read every comment, and you guys always come through with the best team comp ideas. Patch 3.3 is just getting started, so stay tuned because the banners and event info are coming next, and it's looking stacked. Thanks for watching, Trailblazers. I'll see you out there on the Astral Express.